I've seen plenty of times where, a client or a company doesn't want to invest the time in doing a good asset assessment, a content audit. What pieces do you have? What needs to be updated? No, we just need to get something out in market. We need to get something out in market right away.
Right.
Okay, we can do that. It's not your best choice.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
And you've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
And Josh is in Colorado. Brendan and Maria are in West Virginia, which is where I'm from, and I'm in South Florida. So I think, with remote work, with the technology being so fantastic, I think you're right that in 5 to 10 years, one of the marketing agencies that I work for is entirely a B2B agency, and they founded, I want to say 9 years ago, with the idea of remote work, because they did not want to limit themselves to only hiring talent within a certain geographic area.
Right.
So their headquarters is in California. They have employees up and down the East Coast, through the Midwest, and up and down the West Coast.
Right.
And they know that they've got the right people, not just the people who live within 20 miles of their headquarters.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 social media people, one just for TikTok only, and then one for everything else. And my TikTok girl, I think, is in Atlanta, and my everything else girl is in, I think she's in the Philippines. I'm not 100% sure, but
Exactly.
Right.
And that's fantastic. I am, as a freelancer, I am not a fan of services like Fiverr and Upwork. I am in complete agreement with Seth Godin that they are a race to the bottom in terms of the value of freelance work. And as a professional, I make professional rates.
Right.
And if you want to pay $50 for an ebook, that's the budget you've got, that's the product you'll be happy with, rock on. I'm not your provider. You're not my customer.
So I'm going to challenge you there a little bit. I want to challenge you on that a little bit, because I recommend this to new startup people all the time, to go ahead and put their profile on Fiverr, go ahead and put their profile on Upwork, but charge the right rates for you. And that is another top of funnel activity.
I did that.
You're
And
still
guess
there.
what? Not a single bite.
Doesn't matter. You got SEO.
Well, yes, that is true. And I did that.
And you're another profile. It's another opportunity to be seen.
Yeah, no, that I agree with. But I did that at the appropriate rates.
Right.
And I bid on several projects. And I agree with you for SEO, the visibility, that's awesome. But in terms of the return on my time, I didn't get any. Because
I'm not saying to work the system really hard. I'm just saying to have the profile, or the other solution that I really like to have on Fiverr is a very, very low cost of entry product that they can buy for cheap. It takes very little time. And then at least I've gotten paid to get a lead.
Yeah, that is a good, and I can absolutely see using.
You can't go to the high-end services there at all. It's got to be something super cheap, entry, like nibble pieces, right? Little tiny projects.
Right. And that's where the type of marketing writing that I do doesn't work as well for that sort of project, because a lot of what I write are things like email nurture campaigns, where it's not a high word count.
Right.
But they, as I'm sure you know, that short content pieces, to write them well, takes more time than it does to write a longer article.
You do email marketing writing, then we need to talk for sure. But I mean, I can tell you, the nuance in email marketing for the audience is, I'll talk to 1,000 people and 900 will tell me email marketing is dead, it doesn't work. And they're absolutely wrong. 100% wrong, right? Some of the wealthiest people that I know will tell me email marketing works, you just don't know how to do it.
Right.
Right. So the email that I sent you, right, to get on this show, I've gone through probably 40 different variations, and it's literally like a 4-sentence email.
Yep.
Right. And I
really got my attention.
And one day I would send 100 a day and I get one person a day replying to me, right?
Really?
And I thought that was great. I was like, okay, that's great. And I was talking with one of my coaches, and he's like, take this line out. I'm like, okay. And the next day I got 10 responses. And ever since then, I get a 10%, not just response rate, but a 10% success rate on.
That's awesome.
On these shows. So, and it was literally one line in that email that was keeping people consciously from moving forward.
Right.
And this is a service. I don't charge for this. Like this is free for you, right? So going from 1% to 10% is a huge difference, right? So I'm wildly familiar with the nuance in emails, because it's so easy to write 100 emails and send them out and get no response. But like, oh, that just doesn't work. But you just don't know how to do it yet.
Yeah, I mean, if email marketing didn't work, I wouldn't have gotten, let's see, 15 new emails, actually 20 in my one Gmail account in the time that we've been talking. So clearly, it does work.
I have so many programs filtering my mail for me. It's insane.
Yeah. I think the thing with email marketing, especially in the B2B world, which is what I specialize in, B2B email marketing versus B2C are two vastly different things. Because in the B2C world, you can throw a discount or a coupon into your subject line and somebody's going to bite. In the B2B world, especially if you've got a long buying cycle and a complex buying group, the average buying group has gone from 5 people to 11 people when we're talking about corporate buying and things like software as a service. So that means that you've got to not only convince the person who wants what you have, you have to convince legal, you have to convince security, you have to convince purchasing, you have to convince budget. So you've got all these other players who all have to come to an agreement. And that's why we create buyer personas. That's why we have a buyer journey that looks like a snarled ball of yarn from Gartner, which is one of the biggest companies that analyzes these sorts of things. And so when you've got that sort of a complex purchase that maybe the buying cycle is anywhere from 6 months to 18 months, you can't just throw out 50% off today only. Doesn't work. Right. It doesn't work. It actually reduces your credibility as a provider at that level to just throw out a discount. If you're selling a software product that is, $40,000 and you throw out some ridiculous discount, people are going to go, but okay, so that's what it's really worth.
Right.
That's what it's really worth. If they can give it to me for that, that's what it's really worth. I mean, when I was in college, Limited Express was huge, right? And that was in the 90s with the washable silk shirts that started, their retail start price was $55 each in 1993. Right. You wait 2 months, it's on a rack for $8. Tell me why I am going to pay $55.
Where's the market?
I'm not, because the shirt is clearly only worth $8.
Yeah, that is how the cool kid on the day it came out was worth a lot more.
To some people, yes, and there are those people, and there are those people, and they are the $55 customer. Macy's is in financial trouble, and so is JCPenney, because they have gotten their customers trained to watch for sales. Deep discounts, 70% off doorbusters. When JCPenney took their doorbusters from being only a Black Friday thing to being every holiday you can think of, they devalued their own stock. Correct. Because when you look at, let's say, a Liz Claiborne purse at JCPenney and it says original price $70, sale $30, well, clearly it's worth the $30. So you can do that kind of email marketing in the B2C world, and it's effective. In the B2B world, it's a lot more difficult. And in the B2B world, people are busy. You've got to write subject lines that share value, that share the benefit, not just features. Features are not the key. It's got to be the benefit. Okay, so it's got this calendar in it. What's the benefit? It keeps you on track. What's it's got the calendar has built-in alarm function. Okay, great. What's the benefit? You never miss a meeting. You're never late. Those are the benefits. And when you do B2B email marketing writing, understanding that product to that level that you can effectively communicate the benefits and the true value to the end user is incredibly important. And I think a lot of people don't take the time and do that homework and understand the product. They get thrown in. They get thrown in and they crank out copy. And it's not that they're not good writers. It's not that they're not dedicated. But I mean, I've seen plenty of times where, a client or a company doesn't want to invest the time in doing a good asset assessment, a content audit. What pieces do you have? What needs to be updated? No, we just need to get something out in market. We need to get something out in market right away.
Right.
Okay, we can do that. Not your best choice.
Right.
And then, golly gee, go figure, it's not effective. You have to give people time to learn. You can't write. When I went to the University of Miami, the School of Communication was in a lot of ways very much a hands-on trade school. Most of our faculty were professionals from the industry. One of my advisor was a former producer at CNN. Radio people, TV people, journalists. And so we learned very hands-on how to put together a newspaper page, how to edit videotape, how to edit audio tape, whatever it was. They required that we double majored in the College of Arts and Sciences or the School of Business because they didn't want us to just know how to write. We were expected to know about something to write about. You have to do homework. You have to have subject matter knowledge. You have to be able to understand what you're writing about clearly, or you can't communicate it effectively. And I remember when I was in college, and I have it somewhere in a box, I found a newspaper editorial cartoon, and it was a whiteboard with topics taped up to it in words. So economics, politics, entertainment, fashion, food, engineering, petroleum, 30 different things. And there was a person standing in front of it with one hand like this and the other hand with a dart, throwing it at that board. And it said, how journalists start their day. Today I am an and the headline, the header at the top of the whiteboard said, today I am an expert in. And so then all the topics and throwing the dart. And I think that is also an intrinsic part of journalism, right? Is that willingness and that ability to learn very quickly, even if you've had no exposure to something. And so I think that's also why a lot of journalists have moved into content marketing. It's the same thing. One of the different agencies that I work for, I may be writing one day about a software product that helps avoid the dreaded overfill at your soda bottling plant. And the next day, writing about a different type of software that helps construction companies more effectively plan material needs. Estimate, that's the word, estimate. So when you've got to swing back and forth, and that's one reason I love it, on any given day. So this morning I worked on a proposal for a security company. I worked on, and I mean like a real physical, like security guards kind of company. I worked on stuff about cloud bot defense. I worked on this educational startup, which is using improv techniques to teach social emotional learning. I am working on an annual report for a university this week, and I'm also writing copy for a commercial real estate website.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of different, but that's why I love it.
Right.
I get bored.
Right. I could not walk into the same job every single day and do the same task over and over and over. That's part of the reason I love these interviews, because I get to talk to people from all different stretches of the world. I have an interesting, I didn't know this about content marketing. Did you know Guinness, the beer, is the founder of the Guinness Book of World Records?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. And they founded it because they knew people like to talk about these weird statistics in bars.
Yep.
And they wanted to associate their name with these weird, crazy things that people did.
Yeah.
And so that goes back like 100 years or so, roughly?
At least. I want to say the late 1800s, but I could be totally wrong about that.
So content marketing is not a new concept at all.
No. Well, Michelin, the Michelin Guide, the Michelin food guide to Michelin restaurants was created by the Michelin Tire Company. So that people would, like same thing with Guinness, would associate, they would go, when road trips became a thing in Europe, and people were starting to drive around Europe and looking for places to eat. You've got Michelin tires on your car, and you've got a Michelin
you go
guide.
to a Michelin star restaurant.
Yep. And that's, and I mean, for most of my life, I thought that was just a coincidence of name. And no, the tire company developed the Michelin guide to give people a guide on
place
places
to go on their
stop
tires.
and eat while they were on road trips. So how cool is that?
That's awesome.
So yes, content
my
marketing.
favorite Michelin restaurant is in Miami. And I can't think of the hotel name, but it's in the same hotel that Club Live is in.
Okay. We just got our Michelin list, and I have honestly not been to any of them, but I think I know the one you're talking about, because everybody was like, oh yeah, that's the one that's going to get the star. We know that. They're a lot.
Yeah, they have this. It's so Midwestern and Hoosier of me, but they have this lobster corn roll that I just absolutely love.
That sounds amazing.
And I'm super excited because I'm going back to Miami, I think in November, for a cyber defense summit. So
well, when you come down, I'd love to take you out for coffee or something.
Sounds great. We'll definitely try to get that
show you
together.
have you ever been to Little Havana?
I've only been to Miami about 4 times, and I really don't leave the hotel that much. When I go to a conference and I'm just in the conference, and it is what it is, and I'm back out to the airport. So
that makes a lot of sense. Little Havana is in my opinion the heart of Miami. All the things that people love about Miami, a lot of the food, the Miami sound, the music, all of that, it all comes out of Cuban culture. And Little Havana is the center of, you can go by the name, is the center of Cuban culture in Miami. And I actually helped a friend. He's an illustrator and a graphic designer. And I wrote the foreword to a book that he created of illustrations and photos of Little Havana. And I edited all the copy for him. I wrote a lot of it and edited it for him. So I love to show out of towners Little Havana, because it's overlooked compared to places like the beach. So it's a lot more interesting to me.
The time that I've spent in Miami, I've really enjoyed. It's not been much out in the community. It's been at these. I mean, the hotels are glorious.
Yeah.
And
Yes. And of course, the Miami Beach Convention Center is amazing. And most people who, if they go to a convention at the Miami Beach Convention Center, like you just said, they're at the convention center, they're at the hotel, they're at places right around. And there's so much right around there. Why would you leave?
Why would you leave? Yeah, it's all beautiful. Like every inch of the shoreline is beautiful. So why would you?
Yes.
You don't have to walk very far. You're in heaven everywhere you go. My wife is on the other side of that boat, though. She's like, I hate the humidity. I'm not going there anymore. So. I have not been outside today at 9 a.m. 72% humidity and 83 degrees outside. It feels like 95 at 9 a.m. And with this curl, I do not go outside if I can help it. She's got curly hair too. All right, Annette. So 2 years in being a solo entrepreneur. You were job. You lost your job, and then you had a couple of jobs, and you were trying to talk yourself into taking another job. And your friends and family all knew this isn't for you, and you knew it wasn't for you. And you made the decision to say, you know what, I'm going to be freelance. Your boyfriend for a long time has been freelance. So you're familiar with not having medical insurance or vacation and all that kind of stuff. How did that make you feel when you finally said, hey, I don't have this security blanket anymore? Or did you feel like a big weight was taken off of your shoulders?
Such a relief. It was such a relief. because I felt like finally I was in control. I am one of those people who's always been too much for somebody. And when that person that I'm too much for is my boss, that leads to conflict.
Yeah.
And that has been a running theme through my life. So not having to deal with that sort of thing, not having to deal with office politics. I am one of those people who, I have the very Irish trait of saying what I think, whether it's wise or not.
Yeah.
And so that's, and being honest about, I remember my first longtime job out of college was at a science museum, and I loved it. And the president of the science museum would get so frustrated because he would come up with some pie in the sky idea, and all the yes people would be sitting around going, oh, that's wonderful, that's wonderful. And I'd be the only one with the nerve to go, but what about X?
Yeah, my mouth is getting me in trouble too.
Yeah, and he would call me the idea killer. But when things are bad ideas, I'm going to tell you. So getting away from all of that, from having to deal with personalities. I mean, yes, I still deal with personalities, but it's from a distance. They're not in my face, different personalities, different personality types. There's always, you never get away from that, but it feels so good to roll down the steps every morning to my desk. You can see in the background, my TV is here. My stuff is here. My books and all the things that inspire me are right here in this room.
Right.
That makes it so much easier to be creative. So much easier. Being creative in a sterile environment is very hard. And I am now in the environment that I get to create. Nobody says, oh, you can only have 3 things on your desk. You can only have 1 picture on your wall. You only get, this much space. So I now have the environment I want to be creative. And I get to control my schedule. I get to say, no, I can't do that this week. It's tremendously empowering. And I think more and more women, especially since the pandemic, the pandemic for women was a tremendous hit in terms of the workplace, because so many gave up their jobs because of the childcare, because of the need for distance learning. And I get it. Especially if your partner is making more money, then, that's the way it goes. So I think more and more women are going to discover that this kind of life is the better choice for them, because they can say, I am blocked out every day from 3 to 4 because I'm going to go get my child. And nobody calls me, and I get no meetings during that time. Being able to establish those boundaries. I don't know that there's really such a thing as work-life balance, but I think there's a work-life integration.
Right.
Being able to integrate that, where normally there are not client emergencies and I can go get a haircut in the middle of the day, or I can, those sorts of things I think are really important and very freeing. So ultimately, overall, it's been a tremendous weight lifted.
So
and I have not had to chase money.
You haven't had what?
I have not had to chase money.
Right. So you give up the security of somebody else doing the sales, somebody else booking your appointments, somebody else paying for insurance and doing payroll and all of those things, right? And your point is that the I don't want to call it toxic office environment, but just the office environment wasn't conducive for you, and this is a better choice for you.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say that the office environment. You're right. Toxic is not the right word, but restrictive. Restrictive.
Okay, that's a good word.
Yeah, because it's very boundaried. You're there from 8:45 to 5:30. You only get this little window of time for lunch. You're trying to get your lunch in with 30 other people trying to use the same microwave, and all that sort of thing. And what if you're in a building like I was before that didn't have any lunch options. That meant everybody had to bring their lunch because we were kind of in the middle of like a corporate plaza. So there was nothing right around. It wasn't convenient. Parking was really tough. So everybody brought their lunch. So everybody's trying to do lunch at the same time, you know, so getting away from all of those sorts of people-y things can be relaxing, I guess is the right word. And it's not that the environment was toxic, but it is. I mean, if you're expected to be, you know, 9 to 5, that's very, you know, restrictive.
Right. So and we're chasing an hour here, Annette.
Yep.
But I think this is an important topic, especially now, you know, mid to late 2022. We're in the middle of this great resignation, whatever's going
Yep.
on. I don't know. I don't have a great crystal ball here. But
right.
You know, I know that we normally on Clicks and Bricks we talk about business and technology. That's our core
right.
fundamental. But as this great resignation continues, we're still going to have corporate America. What advice do you have for corporate America managers and bosses to overcome that problem in the workplace today?
Be flexible. Stop being so rigid. That alone will do it. If I know that I can go get my hair cut in the middle of the afternoon once every 6 to 8 weeks without having to give up my lunch break to do it, I'm going to be a lot happier.
Right.
If I know that I can take that hour and I can book that hour without getting side-eye, I'm going to be a lot happier. That I don't think that everybody wants to work remotely necessarily. I think what people want is flexibility. Bring me in when you need me, not just because you think I'm not working if you don't see me.
Right. I think it's more like just being treated like a human.
Yes, what a crazy concept.
Like, just treat me like a human being that yes. has a life. That this business is not my life.
Right.
It is my job. If you're an employee, it is just your job. And it's okay. Right. I see so many business owners that get frustrated with employees like, oh, it's just a job to them. I wish it was more. And I do this all the time. I wish that it was more than just a job for a lot of my employees. But a lot of it's not. Some of them it is. Right? Like I know right now I've got a kid that works for me and he wants my job and he's told me I want your job. I'm like, then take it. Come get it. It's awesome. Yours. Like, but you got here's what you got to do, right? And I'm gonna leave sometimes anyway. So having a predecessor is a good thing. I think it's just treat them like humans and understand that this job is not their life.
Right. And when you do get those people, because I'm always one of those people that I always throw in 150%. I'm not capable. Right. I'm just not. I've tried. I am not capable. So when you do get those people, value them, make sure they know, instead of seeing them as a threat, do what you just did and tell that kid, come get it. Come get it. Instead, so many people in like middle management or upper management would look at somebody with ambition and be like, threat must be squashed.
Right. But that kid's going to help you grow more than anybody else. Right. And then you don't even know what's, you know, that to me is just a lazy man attitude. Oh, I don't want them to grow because that's going to potentially threaten me. It's not an attitude I've ever had. Is like, let them grow. There's going to be cooler stuff that I can do. If he can take my job, then I can do cooler things.
Yeah, and I think it's a very old-fashioned, traditional, like hierarchical sort of mindset, and I don't think it serves anybody well. And especially, you know, the work that I do, the marketing and creative stuff, I really do believe it's a service. I really look at what I do as a service job, a service role, and I think that in American corporate culture, we don't value service. Not really. We give it lip service.
Right.
We don't value it. I've been in so many,
it's the only thing
culture
left.
building. Right.
Like robots are going to build all our stuff for us.
Yes.
Like we're a nation. Late stage capitalism is a nation of servicing each other.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where
but look at you know, in the pandemic, nurses were lauded and applauded, and they're you know, essential workers. Then why are we still paying them crap and demanding they work 24-hour shifts? If they're essential, if they're truly essential, don't just call them essential, treat them like they're essential. And I think that that's where we break down is that we do a lot of talk about culture. We don't live it. And now I get to live my own.
There you go. Congratulations. It's super exciting.
I'm thrilled.
So if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they get in touch with you?
There are a couple of different email addresses. That's the best way to reach me. Either Red Tornado Communication, singular, Red Tornado Communication @gmail.com, or Annette Gallagher @gmail.com also works. My website is redtornadocommunication.com. That's also the name of my LinkedIn page and my Facebook page. So,
awesome. And we're going to throw all those links down here at the bottom so that if you, and what kind of customer, and I know that you like to do, a wide variety of different clients, but if somebody's watching this, they're like, oh, that's me exactly. Like, who's your ideal kind of client?
My ideal client is one who understands that marketing does not happen overnight. Marketing success does not happen overnight. You can't launch a new website and be a millionaire in weeks. It's an iterative process. You have to evolve. You have to
crushing
grow.
Me. You're breaking my heart.
You have to be willing to understand that you can't just boost a few Facebook posts and get 1 million followers. It doesn't work that way anymore. It did 10 years ago. It's a grind. It's a grind.
You could have done it 10 years ago. You still had to get pretty lucky 10 years ago. But
you're right.
And have a good concept and all that other stuff. It was easier to accidentally get big 10, 15 years ago than it is today. But it's still totally possible. What I think is super cool about today's environment is, you could get accidentally rich in the early 2000s up to like 2005. But today, if you just want to work hard, you can make a living online.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't even have to work that. It's probably less hard than a real job. Than a real job.
Right. The single question that frustrates me the most is, how do I make this go viral?
Right.
You can't. You may see a great photo. Like several years ago, our basketball team, UM basketball team, was going to the ACC tournament, and our mascot was behind the wheel of the bus. And I was like, JC, get that photo for me. I want to put that on the UM Facebook page. It's going to get, I said, 300 likes and 100 shares. It got 3,000 likes and 800 shares.
Yes.
So even though I saw, oh, that's super cute, everybody loves Sebastian the Ibis, this is going to be popular, I still wasn't right. I was thrilled to be wrong.
I can't tell you that there is the one surefire key that I've always known to go viral is babies in camouflage. I don't know why. Babies in camo go viral almost every time for us.
There's lots of stuff around babies that definitely does that. Babies and kittens, especially in weird situations. Babies dancing, that works. I mean, the dancing baby was one of the first viral internet memes back in the day of Ally McBeal in the mid 90s.
Dancing. Yes, it was actually
the dancing baby. That's how old I am. Yes, I remember the dancing baby.
I remember that very well.
I remember getting emails with the dancing baby. Anyway,
I've been on the internet for a long time as well, and I'm glad that we are past the days of mouse trackers on the browser and all of that fun stuff that we had that was just gaudy as heck. But I kind of miss the weirdness, but I'm also kind of glad that it's gone. So Annette, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your story. It's wonderful. I hope you have a great career ahead of you, and I don't see anything but growth in front of you.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate this opportunity. This was a delightful conversation, and I can't wait to see it and hear it live. Well, recorded.
All right. Yes, absolutely. Fantastic.
All right. Thanks so much, Ken. You have a great day.
That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.